Welcome to Chapter 2, Leadership and the Workforce. This is one of my favorite topics. I spent a great deal of my PhD work studying leadership because, well, it's really important. John Quincy Adams once said this about leadership: if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. And Martin Luther King Jr. once said, a genuine leader is not a searcher of consensus, but a molder of consensus. Leadership is a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal or goals. A true leader is able to influence his or her team. Without a team of followers who believe, as passionately as the leader, in attaining the goal, there is no need to lead. Without influence, leadership does not exist. A leader may have 10 followers on his or her team, all with different personalities and traits. That's why every leader must be flexible and adaptable. From the many studies conducted over the years related to traits and characteristics of an effective leader, there are a few that are consistent across the board and through the years. These include intelligence. Studies indicate that having strong verbal ability, perceptual ability, and reasoning appears to make for more effective leaders. Self-confidence. Effective leaders must be influential. If they have certainty about their skills and competencies, they are able to more effectively influence others that the direction they are headed in is in fact the correct direction. Determination. Rolling up their sleeves and doing whatever it takes to get the job done is an effective trait of all leaders. Integrity. Another very important trait for leaders. Leaders with integrity inspire confidence in their team because they do what they say they are going to do. They are loyal, dependable, and never deceptive. And finally, sociability. Leaders who are outgoing, extroverts, sensitive to others' needs, and show genuine concern for their well-being tend to be very effective leaders. You can also see on this slide 3 keys to exercising leadership and some key leadership traits and skills all leaders should aim to possess. Leaders must also see the big picture, a vision of where the organization is headed. Steve Jobs put it this way: if you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. Successful leadership depends that leaders not only have vision, but that they have the skills necessary to transform the vision into reality. Of all the skills listed here, the most important is communication, which includes listening skills. An effective leader must be able to communicate the vision, goals, and instructions clearly and in terms that motivate and inspire their team. According to Bennis and Nannis, attention to vision leaders are the most results-oriented leaders in the world, and results get attention. Their visions or intentions are compelling and pull people toward them. Intensity coupled with commitment is magnetic, and these intense personalities do not have to coerce people to pay attention. They are so intent on what they are doing that they draw others in. Meaning through communication is that leaders articulate and define what has previously remained implicit or unsaid. Then they invent images, metaphors, and models that provide a focus for new attention. Trust through positioning. Leaders acquire and wear their visions like clothes. Accordingly, they seem to enroll themselves in the belief of their ideals as attainable, and their behavior exemplifies the ideas in action. Development of self through positive self. Regard and the Wallenda factor. Positive self-regard consists of 3 components: knowledge of one's strengths, the capacity to nurture and develop these strengths, and the ability to discern the fit between one's strengths and weaknesses and the organization's needs. Positive regard for self creates positive regard for others. There is a great lesson that we all can learn from Karl Wallenda, a German-American high-wire artist and founder of the Flying Wallendas, a daredevil circus act that performed dangerous stunts, often without a safety net. The Wallenda factor is the name for that trait of leaders because of which they simply refuse to think about failure. Effective leaders view failures as false starts, stumbles, or steps to greatness, not the end result. There is often a discussion about the difference between leadership and management. My father was a great leader and manager when he worked for Shelter Insurance. He defined them separately for me in the way that seemed the most fitting. You manage resources. You lead people. Leadership matters. In Jim Collins' Good to Great principles, he talks about first who and then what. This means getting the right team in the right seats on the right bus before you look at vision, strategy, and tactics, and then putting your best people on your biggest opportunities, not your biggest problems. Honesty, accountability, and integrity. These are all considered necessary attributes of true leaders since Aristotle. Only the leader can set this tone. It's critical to the team and its success. Theory X refers to top-down management, authoritarian style. Theory X managers must rely heavily on the threat of punishment to gain employee compliance. When practiced, this theory can lead to mistrust, highly restrictive supervision, and a punitive atmosphere. One major flaw of this management style is that it limits employee potential and discourages creative thinking. It can, however, be very effective when you have a young, inexperienced workforce that needs a lot of direction. Theory Y leadership is described as a humanistic style. Theory Y leaders assume employees can be ambitious, self-motivated, and exercise self-control. Employees enjoy their mental and physical work duties, and for them, work is as natural as play. They possess creative problem-solving abilities, but their talents are underused in most organizations. This environment would include sharing of decision-making so that subordinates have a say in decisions that influence them. A very effective leadership style when you have a very veteran, very talented workforce. Theory Z leadership requires a high level of trust, loyalty, and mutual respect. It works well in organizations where all employees, leaders, and followers stay for most of their career. That is pretty tough to find in today's working world. After reading this chapter, what leadership style do you think you work best under? The 5 approaches here are widely debated, but several theories suggest the answer depends on the combination of followers and the situation. A contingency theory is an organizational theory that claims that there is no best way to organize a corporation, to lead a company, or to make decisions. Instead, the optimal course of action is contingent, or dependent, upon the internal and external situation. A contingent leader effectively applies his or her own leadership style to the right situation. Autocratic leadership, also known as authoritarian leadership, is a leadership style characterized by individual control over all decisions and little input from group members. Autocratic leaders typically make choices based on their own ideas and judgments and rarely accept advice from others. Autocratic leadership involves absolute authoritarian control over a group. On the other hand, democratic leadership, also referred to as participative leadership, offers team members the opportunity to participate in the decision-making process and offer ideas freely in a safe environment. Every structure has its challenges. Highly centralized organizations tend to be more authoritarian. There's also unity of command. The authoritarian lines can be blurred in the media industry. The book referenced journalists often working with several editors to complete a story. Span of control. A wider span of control often causes leaders to be spread too thin. This generates a philosophy of doing more with less, better. Division of labor is less and less prevalent in today's media world. Those students coming out of college have to be able to wear many hats in this new world of convergent media. You make yourself more marketable by being able to shoot video, shoot stills, write a story for the web, write for the newspaper, conduct social media, and those types of things. Communication is essential to building the most effective team. It is simply impossible to become a great leader without being a great communicator. Leaders know if their messages don't take deep root with the team, then it likely won't be understood, much less championed. According to Sheen, leaders have the ability to communicate organizational messages in at least 5 different ways as shown on the next 2 slides. If leaders are consistent in action supporting these 5 criteria and add in stories, the team can be managed quite effectively. When the goals are clear and the communication about those goals is crystal clear, there leaves little room for dysfunction of the team. Teams are a part of the education world and the working world. We all must learn to work in teams. A team will always have its challenges, but a successful team has clearly defined roles, accountability, and commitment, great communication, and buy-in from leadership and each team member. When teams are working most effectively, they build a sense of community and trust, which in turn makes them more loyal and committed to the cause. When a team doesn't work together, meaning all are rowing in the same direction, there is typically a breakdown in communication. A team member isn't doing their share, and there is a lack of respect. When this happens, the team is neither being productive or efficient. The media world and people within it, by and large, are creative creatures. It's a fun industry. Many creative media organizations design their workspaces in that way as well, with fun colors and creative workspace. It's not your typical cubicle country. Research suggests that the recipe for creativity includes a certain amount of expertise mixed with a dose of naivete, a steady infusion of new ideas, adequate but not excessive resources, and an organization structure and culture that empowers individuals and rewards risk-taking. An effective leader doesn't have meetings just to have meetings. Again, the goals are clearly defined and the team understands where they are going. Every meeting should have a clearly defined agenda with a start time that is firm so everyone arrives on time and precious time isn't wasted. How long should meetings last? No longer than they need to last. I read about a company whose culture had developed so well that they frequently scheduled and held effective 15-minute meetings. For that to work, everyone needs to be on time. That's a big step in good management discipline anyway. Next, a meeting owner has to frame the reason for the meeting and his expectations in both the agenda and the meeting itself, and keep things moving. In a 15-minute meeting, there is no time for nonsense or storytelling. People expect to achieve certain ideals from their jobs, employers, and careers. These workplace values, concepts, and ideas that are important to you have a direct impact on your satisfaction with your job, with your career, and even with your life. When you understand the values you cherish most highly, you can make an evaluation about whether your current employer, or a prospective employer, supports those values. Assessment reviews give you the opportunity to talk about issues, concerns, and your personal goals and desires. Organizational culture is the behavior of humans within an organization and the meaning that people attach to those behaviors. According to Needle, organizational culture represents the collective values, beliefs, and principles of organizational members and is a product of such factors as history, product, market, technology and strategy, types of employees, management style, and national culture. Culture includes the organization's vision, values, norms, systems, symbols, language, assumptions, beliefs, and habits. In addition, organizational culture may affect how much employees identify with an organization. Although a company may have its own unique culture, in larger organizations there are sometimes coexisting or conflicting subcultures because each subculture is linked to a different management team. There aren't too many offices in America that aren't diverse in many ways today. Knowing and respecting different cultures and beliefs is a must in today's workplace. As a leader, first you must recognize the cultural differences and then manage your own behavior. Be aware of the differences and treat every member with the same level of fairness and respect. So there you go. Some tips to learn and think about as you develop your leadership style and think about how you will practice leadership when you become a media manager.